Signature Bank Studios. This is Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan Proft and Amy Jacobson. Only the biggest stories, only the biggest guests, and only the biggest opinions. This is AM 560, The Answer.
Top of the morning, Dan and Amy. So the reviews continue to pour in of what's going on in New York City, both with the Alvin Bragg case, which is yet to take form, but more notably with the Letitia James case, in which Trump has this $454 million bond he has to post in order to appeal this absurd punishment that has been imposed upon him.
And what are they going to seize his assets? If he doesn't pay it, that's what they're talking about.
Well, that's what Letitia James has suggested. Yeah, the lien his assets at once he falls into a state of tardiness on the payment. Jonathan Turley, George Washington law professor, imploring the higher courts to step in here and restore some order.
Basically, his position is, in order to get any other judge to look at what I've done to you, you've got to come up with basically $500 million just to appeal. It's like a judge saying, I'm going to take your house away, but you can appeal my decision. You just have to sell your house in order to do it. It doesn't, many people look at this as a type of almost mob justice, as, you know, the attorney general ran on bagging Trump. She's now pledging to seize his property just because he can't come up with his bond. At some point, the courts have got to step in and say, look, this is just simply enough. You know, you're requiring this astronomical bond just for this guy to be able to get any other judge to look at this decision.
Kevin O'Leary, real estate developer, you know him from Shark Tank. He's been very outspoken on this issue. It's difficult to like a real estate developer, but sort of like an attorney. But O'Leary has become a little bit more likable in the last couple of weeks as he has weighed in, and he went further than Turley.
But more importantly, the message about the American brand. You think about America, the reason this is the number one economy on earth is that we have laws and we have due process and we have property rights. It attracts foreign capital from all around the world. All of that is being shaken to the core here. The concept of seizing assets in 30 days on a bond number that's never been issued. No insurance bond company's ever issued anything near this, so there was no chance it was going to happen. And only giving 30 days notice and time, that's a really bad message. And I think New Yorkers should think well past Trump. Whether he's president or not, or whether this attorney general is gone in 4 years or not, it's irrelevant. This is case setting against the American brand. The most stable country on earth, anywhere, to put capital to work over a long period of time, particularly in real estate, is the United States of America. This is an assault on what we believe to be core. And I find it extraordinary. I think it's very troubling. It has absolutely nothing to do with Donald Trump at this point, in my view, and it is completely bipartisan. This is an attack on America. And I don't know how...
Attack on America. Mm-hmm.
I mean, who would want to do business in New York after all this? And then Governor Kathy Hochul was like, "Oh, don't worry, real estate investors. This is just a one thing with Trump." Really? Is it really?
It's when you're at the hands, you exist at the hands of these neo-Jacobins. It's not just with respect to the big guys, as New York City resident Adele Andaloro found out. Adele Andaloro inherited her family's home in Flushing, Queens, after her parents passed away. She was in the process of selling it when she noticed a problem.
Oh, squatters.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, yeah, they don't leave.
Someone changed the entire front door and lock on her home.
Oh, my God.
Here, this guy forced himself into
ABC7, the ABC affiliate in New York, reporting here.
Here, this guy just forced himself into my house. No, he did not. Yes, he did. No, he didn't. And so did you. You broke through the front door.
Officer. The man called the police on her.
So why is it that I have to leave and he doesn't have to leave?
Because technically he can't be kicked out. We need to go to court.
They consider this a landlord-tenant issue. And by law, it has to be handled through the housing court, not with police.
If you own this house, you would not want her inside.
I don't own it.
Exactly,
yes.
She does.
Yes, but then once again, you should know how the law works.
I do know how it works.
There's rules to it. As you got to go to court and send me to civil court.
He says he signed a lease in October, but wouldn't tell us with who.
I got proof longer than that.
Show us the proof.
But who are you for me to show? I showed it to cops.
Dan with Channel 7 News. If you don't want to show it, you don't want to show it.
Proof. Come here, brother. I like that.
I would like to see it.
He didn't show me a lease.
This is a bill.
A bill for work he says he had done to the house. He didn't show police a lease either.
The police department doesn't have the lease?
No.
He's got no documentation.
Just bills.
So Adele, you're getting arrested right now?
I'm being arrested.
For what?
For
being in my own home.
And where's your lease?
She's fighting the house. It's not her house anymore.
My deed is current and legal.
Arrested for unlawful eviction. She changed the locks on a man who claims he lives there.
It's bigger than just the legal wranglings and the political context. It's this larger point that O'Leary was getting to, and I think the Andaloro case nicely illustrates. And by the way, we have the same problem in Cook County.
Oh, yeah. My friend, he had squatters in his house, and he couldn't get them out. Finally got them out.
If there's no respect for private property rights, you don't have a private economy, if that's important to you. For more on this, Steve Moore joins us, GovZilla author and economist. Of course, Steve, thanks for being with us. Appreciate it.
Hey, good morning, guys.
What about that? What about the O'Leary formulation that this matter between the state of New York and Trump and the $454 million bond he has to post in order to appeal the ridiculous punishment that was imposed, that this is really an attack on property rights and it's an attack on America that extends well beyond Trump?
Oh, I don't think there's any question about it. And, there was just a new survey that came out of New Yorkers about the condition of the city today. And New Yorkers are more, and this is a survey that's been done every 5 years for about the last 25 years. And New Yorkers are just disgusted with the condition of the city, the crime, all of the bad schools, the taxes. And the last thing New York needs now is to put a big, blaring sign out saying we're not open for business, that anyone who comes to the city and builds things and is a success, we're going to try to tear them down. So it's terrible for New York. Every American, virtually, I don't care if you're Republican, Democrat, Independent, realizes this is just a political witch hunt against Trump because they don't like Trump. I don't really understand the logic of this. If anything, it's making Trump even more sympathetic to voters, and New York should just come to its senses. And there is what is the Eighth Amendment that says that the government cannot charge excessive bail. That if there was ever a case of a violation of the Eighth Amendment, it's here.
Well, walk us through seizing of his properties. How's that going to go down?
Say that again.
Seizing of his properties.
Right.
Exactly. How's that going to work? Just walk us through that.
Yeah, what are they going to do? Take away the building on Fifth Avenue? I mean,
kick him out of Trump Tower. I know you live here, but we're taking over this place.
Letitia James is going to walk in and she's going to say, "You're sitting in my golden chair. This place is mine now." That's where the AG's office is going to be relocated to.
It's almost like a scene out of the Batman movie. It's like we're just going to come and take your crap away from you. And look. Every fair-minded person knows that she's not fair-minded. I mean, she basically ran for office saying, "I'm going to get Trump." I mean, come on, what kind of a judicial system we have today when you can just go after your political enemies?
Hey, I know you're feeling a little blue, and I don't want to make things worse, but I just wanted to commiserate a little bit. I'm sorry that Bentley is delaying its all EV plan and changing its vehicle development schedule, because I know you had your heart set on a baby blue Bentley EV.
I know, that was going to be so awesome. Well, look, the story of EVs is really a tragic story. I mean, you could make the case that the worst thing that ever happened for the EV market was Joe Biden coming into office and forcing them down the throats of American consumers. And so what you've had now is, in fact, we just had a little report on this, that in blue states and blue cities like in Chicago, you have a lot of EVs. Half of the EV sales in the entire country are in, 3 states, New Jersey, New York, and California. And then you go to red states. You know how many, at the end of 2023, you know how many EVs there were in the entire state of North Dakota? 650.
Wow.
650.
Well,
Wait, how many?
So
650
in the entire state. Now, it's a small state for sure, but, so people in California, on average, are 30 times more likely to buy an EV than in North Dakota or Mississippi or Arkansas. And so what's happening here is EVs have become Biden cars. And so people, for ideological reasons, aren't buying EVs, and so half the country has said, "Hell no, I'm not going to buy them." It's like if you buy an EV, you might as well put a Biden bumper sticker on your car, and so that's because there has been some healthy growth in the EV market. These things have been on the market now for 15 or 20 years, and all of a sudden Biden comes in and says, "You have to buy them." You have to buy an EV. We're getting rid of gas cars. And what did everybody do? They ran out and bought gas cars before he could abolish them. So this has turned into a completely partisan issue, and it's almost like the Biden the EVs are now like Bud Light.
Yeah, right. Yeah, that's interesting. Well, in Illinois, it's Pritzker's demanding or encouraging. Of course, he doesn't demand. The lockdown of lockdowners. He doesn't make demands. He doesn't impose mandates. No, he is demanding 1 million EVs be on the roads in Illinois, be in the hands of Illinoisans by 2030.
Yeah.
Well, we're only at like 95,000.
Is he going to buy them for people? Or
he may have to, but we're at 90.
You're so flush with money, you might as well just do that because
he personally is. We have 95,000 right now, so we're going to, and it's not exactly been growing exponentially in the last several years, so we're really going to have to pick up the pace to make it to 1 million by 2030.
So the interesting thing about the car market right now is, what kind of cars people do want to buy and there's high demand for? Hybrids.
Oh, I
hybrids.
love a hybrid.
But no. What's that?
I love hybrids.
Yeah, but you're like everybody, and yet the environmentalists are against hybrids too because it doesn't get us to zero emissions by 2040 or whatever their crazy target is. And so, if you're an environmentalist, you should be in favor of hybrids. But the Biden administration doesn't want hybrids. You've got to have an electric vehicle, and everybody's got to have one. And as soon as they started doing that, people started rebelling against it. And by the way, if you know that they're going to abolish something, what do? You run out and buy them before they can get rid of them. So they've actually accelerated the. And by the way, go to a rental car agency. What are the rental car agencies saying now? Nobody wants to rent an EV. And so
they're selling off their fleets. Yeah, right.
Exactly.
Well, all right, speaking of vehicles, what is going on with the gas prices? The average price of gasoline is up 40 cents since January.
Yeah. Yep.
We're looking at $5 in the city and $4 in the suburbs.
Yeah, and so this is a good point because today is Fed Day. Yay! The Federal Reserve makes a determination in about 3 or 4 hours about what they're going to do with interest rates. And there was a lot of chatter about a month ago about the fact that they were going to start cutting rates because they raised rates 11 times in the last 18 months. But no, I mean, inflation is back. I hate to say this. I don't want to ruin people's Wednesday, but look at the commodity index, and gas is a big part of the commodity index. Those prices are up 11% since the beginning of the year. And so you've got a lot of inflation in that. The last 2 readings on the consumer price index show us that we're, looking at 4 to 5% inflation again. That's a long way from the 2% target. And so for the Fed to be cutting rates now would be ridiculous, and they're not going to do that. But I think we have a lot of work to do to get inflation out of this system. And anybody who goes to the grocery store, anybody who goes to the gas pump, anybody who has to pay a mortgage or a utility bill knows exactly what I'm talking about.
Steve Moore, Govzilla author and economist. Steve, thanks as always. Appreciate it.
Okay, guys, have a great day. Take care.
Thanks, you too. And he joined us on our turnkey.pro answer line.
It's like a hot, steaming cup of information to start your day. It's Chicago's Morning Answer on AM 560. The Answer.
Rick Borick, host of Unleash Your Wealth, talks about the importance of tax planning in retirement.
A qualified financial planner can take you through all the steps to show you every single legal way you can use to reduce and minimize your state income taxes across the board, so that, again, you keep more of your money and your family keeps more of your money.
Unleash Your Wealth, Saturday at 7 a.m. and our new time at 2 p.m. here on AM 560, The Answer.
Hi, I'm Gary Rabine, founder of Rabine Paving and the Rabine Group. I'm a partner of Job Creators Network. I believe that less regulation is important to American freedom and protecting the